Hello, Serge here from the Backyard Driving Range. We have a question that came in to customer service, and this one comes from Alexander Vandenberg. And I think he's from Holland. But Alexander says this: could you please advise me what to do? My upswing remains higher as it should. My club is almost horizontal at the end of my upswing. Okay, I'm going to assume that horizontal is meaning that he's horizontal to the ground, and therefore what we prefer to call parallel to the ground, rather than being up here at about 3/4, which would have it somewhat vertical to the ground, a light club, okay? What helps, but not enough, is I do my upswing slower and straighten my left arm. Have you any other advice / drills which could help me to shorten my upswing? Or some of us will call it the backswing. Thank you very much in advance, Alexander. Okay, so Alexander's still getting the parallel as much as he'd like to stay short. And a lot of times people wonder, and they do say that they get the parallel because their left arm breaks down. And so consequently, if you straightened it up more, it could bring the club back up to 3/4. So the first question becomes, why are you probably breaking down? Now, there's an old adage from years and years ago that one should keep their back elbow tucked. So in the case of me, a right-hander, they would say, take a golf glove or a towel, put it under your arm, and when you swing the club back, you want to keep your arm tucked and keep that towel under your arm, or that glove under your arm, whatever you're putting under, you want to keep it in there. Well, see what happens? It's pretty impossible to have your forward arm stay straight if this arm is breaking down. Okay? And so even though Alexander says he's trying to keep his arm straight, he could be straightening it up more, but it probably all stems from maybe this position right here. Because see, if I take a good backswing and I lift my arm up and I get into the vertical position, my arm's staying relatively straight and my arm moves away from the body and it falls to the ground. I mean, I can even do this with a towel. Some people like it because they want the arms underneath the body on both sides of the ball. All right? And so, I mean, I can stand here and hit a ball and keep the ball and keep both arms on the target, keep the towel under my arms. Now, you all just see me start this lesson with a swing. It wasn't like that, right? Watch what happens if I go back to the peak performance swing and I truly lift my arms, because what happened there? Keeping the towel there, both arms folded like a cheap chair. I'm just basically in here, el foldo, and then I'm huggy bearing on that side. All right? So, but if I lift my arms up, bingo. So you can't play golf hugging yourself. You hug the wife and the kids, but you can't hug yourself. So ultimately, when you take the club away into the mitten up the tree and keep your arm relatively straight, your back arm, in my case my right arm, has to come out here and end up in a right angle. But if you're keeping this elbow tucked in and that's tucked, this is where you're going to be, and then very likely you're going to flip it at the ball and go and come up tucked on the other side. So in both cases, now Alexander says he's keeping his arm straight. So he's probably, the key with keeping it straight would be that you don't hyperextend it. That can get dangerous. Now hyperextended means if I take this arm, lift my sleeve up, it's rather chilly out here. It looks nice in the backyard, but it's only about 45 degrees today. And notice that as I transition, you can see a little flexation, but it never breaks. The whole key is that this arm never goes past the right angle. This collapses past the right angle, you're collapsing inward, you're losing your extension, you're losing your width, and any collapsing like this will tend to push you forward. So the key, I think, ultimately to getting the 3/4 backswing is not to try to stop at the top of the backswing, but that you transition at the top. All right? So if you do the fine top of backswing drill, which is put your right hand or your back hand just below your elbow, get into your posture, pull yourself up as far as you can go, which will get your arm about parallel to the ground. Right here's where I put this bell. In my mind, I use an upside down, a bell that like a desk bell, like the teacher has on the desk with the little plunger, or the hotel or whatever. I flip that up and down, upside down. So when I come up, as I'm going up, I ring the bell, and when I ring, it's bing bang. I call that the Big Bang Theory. Bing bang. So I'm holding on quite firm with both hands, and I'm coming up here, and when that comes up and I hit the bell, bing, my lower body goes. My lower goes, the spine and head go back. That's what Dr. Armstrong calls a secondary spine angle tilt. The key is that you have to know that when you finally make that transition, you have to be holding on firm with both hands, because once this body goes this way and all the muscles stretch out up here and they reach up here, there's got to be a winner. Is this club going to keep? Is this the two arms and club going to keep going that way, or is this momentum going to hit that? And then you say that's it, and it pulls it down, and you stop firing that way. So I think a lot of us, the biggest problem is that we don't know where the top of our swing is, the true top of it, which is where we need to ring that bell and fire the other way, like skipping a rock in a lake. I don't think anybody's ever going to skip a rock by going like this and getting their hands up to parallel. All right? They're just going to go right here, and when you skip, your lower body's already sliding forward a little bit that way, and it's just a little slide. You don't want a big one, because if you do a big one, your legs will collapse out from under you. Your hips will move too much, and your whole upper body will collapse. Just boom, and you're already going the other way. So that's the essence of the bump. So I think that sometimes when I work with players, I've just been doing it with DJ. He was getting too long. I said, DJ, you got to lower your bell and you got to fire your hips sooner. Sooner. He was just doing it too late. So by the time he got going, he had too big a turn, and as we turn, we know the arms get pulled downward, and that takes you to parallel, and that can break you down and take you to parallel, and now you're all the way back here with too much turn and parallel. You got to stop pulling the club up before it can come down. Here, bing, bang, and you're already gone. All right, so you might want to think about ringing the bell sooner and firing and hitting that bump so you can fire and stand up to the finish. So bing, bang, and you start hitting a more solid straight and shooting those lower scores. Well, that's it for the search for today on probably one of the best ways to try to get the swing to 3/4 if you're a little long, the Big Bang Theory. That's it for the search for today, and I'll be talking to you all again soon.